So I'm logged into AMS Plus, and there's just two pieces that we have to set up to do the integration to PlanCompare Edge for agents. First, if you're the owner of the system, I'm sure most of you are, just come up here to Profile and Settings, come down to Settings. You're looking for integrations, right? And then also, of course, find PlanCompare Edge for agents, right? And as you might imagine, we're going to add that integration to our platform. And then there's just a few things that we have to set up for that integration to work. First, we're going to get data back from Connecture after you do the enrollment of the beneficiary. And we're going to want to sync that data with your existing record. So I'm going to go ahead and check that box. And then I'm going to have some settings here. When that comes back from Connecture, I want the default address that I receive from PlanCompare to default to home. And as far as the individual type, I want to go ahead and mark them as a client. And if I want to change the status, I don't necessarily have to, but I do want to note them as enrolled. So you have some selections there. Also, we want to match up the products that we have in AMS Plus, the plans that we have in AMS Plus with the products that come back from PlanCompare, right? And we can do that in a couple different ways. I'm going to do it via plan name and plan ID, right? If you should want, you could also have it create a new product for you. Also, let's sync up the coverage types. Now, I personally like to use the same language that Connecture uses. So for the plan, the MA plans, the Medicare Advantage plans, I'm just gonna do the same thing, right? If you use different naming conventions, you can absolutely map those over. So if you use a different naming convention for Medigap, you can absolutely use that. I just happen to use the same. Also, we want to capture the policy status as I'm going to say active. I could use a product code if I wanted to. I am not. And then also, let's grab and note the plan ID. And I've created a custom field, as you might imagine, called plan ID. And so when that information comes back from PlanCompare, we're going to put that plan ID in that custom field that I've created. Same thing with the confirmation number. I've created a custom field within AMS Plus. So when that information comes back from PlanCompare, I'm going to note that as well. And then pay frequency, I'm going to go ahead and default to monthly. So I'm going to hit save. So that integration, as it says in the lower right-hand corner, has been saved and set up. So now the user or users of your AMS platform can now integrate into PlanCompare, right? But there is one more setting, and that's the user setting. So I'm going to come up here, my account, go to integrations, PlanCompare Edge for agents, right? All I'm going to do is put in who the servicing agent is that's using this account. I am logged in as myself, Eric Conrad, so guess what? Servicing agent is Eric Conrad. And all that means is that when the information, that policy comes back from PlanCompare, it's going to tell you who the agent is in the policy record. Here in this case, anything that comes back that I do is going to say I'm the servicing agent. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so how do I use it? Okay, so I think anybody who's using AMS Plus knows that our system is set up in a couple different ways. Typically under sales, you're processing your leads and your prospects. And then once they sign into a policy or application, they become a customer under servicing, right? So there's two ways you can do the integration. The first is under leads, under your Medicare leads, under any of the leads. These are just custom buckets that I've created. I happen to have one called Medicare leads. And let's work with Jeff Leto. He's a lead, somebody I've never worked with before. I'm working with him. I've captured a lot of his information or activities. I've got a scope of appointment. Finally, he says, hey, let's put something together. Great. So right up here, I can do start a quote, send to PlanCompare. It's right here. Log in, put your quote together, do your enrollment. As soon as you do an enrollment, all that information will come back to AMS Plus and be noted within that system, right? So the information that we send with that integration, of course, we send the contact zip code, first name, last name, date of birth, MBI, Part A, B, right? Once they enroll in a policy, the information that comes back to AMS Plus, of course, the carrier name, premium, app submitted, effective date, status, coverage type, right? Things we set up in our settings earlier, right? So when they're an individual, if I need to do, if they're an existing customer under servicing, do the same thing right here. Start a quote, send to PlanCompare. So you do that, they enroll, all that information comes right back to AMS Plus. As I said earlier, now you've got all this information for, who is this? Lee Zappa. So when you're talking to Lee Zappa in 3 months and he's got questions, you've got all that information right here within AMS Plus.